All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. Obviously, the first and most important story of the day, the Europa Spain show just wrapped up, the finals, and we had some really interesting results, some results that you guys in the live stream seemed to also think were a bit controversial. I thought they were pretty controversial as well. So in fifth place, you had Samson Dauda. In fourth place, surprisingly, you had Regan Grimes. So Regan missed the Olympia qualification at this show. Regan, as of right now, will not be going to the Olympia off of a qualification. In the point standings, this might have bumped him up to that top three, so he might be able to get there on points, but I guess we'll see where this puts him in the point standings. In third place, and this was the biggest shocker to me, in third place you had Rafael Brandao, which I think was a weird decision to say the least. Rafael, to me, had one of the best structures, the best shapes on stage. He was in great shape. One of the best packages I think we've seen to date from Rafael Brandao. And it's weird because if you watch the prejudging or you watch the video that I posted earlier about the prejudging, it looked like they kept Rafael in the middle almost the entire time, and they were comparing other guys to Rafael. It seemed like they were comparing James and Rafael a lot for 1 and 2. And I said in the prejudging video that I thought James was going to win. So that result, as you guys know, so in second place, Lucas Osado wound up in second. I thought that was weird. I had Lucas in fourth personally. But James did win the show. James ended up in first place. I wasn't surprised by that. I agree with James winning the show. And, of course, the top three here, so James, Lucas, and Rafael are all still going to the Olympia. So even though Rafael took third, he still got an Olympia qualification off of this show. But, man, it was some interesting results, and I really want to know what you guys think in the comment section below because I was kind of mind-blown. If you guys were watching with me on my Instagram Live, I was mind-blown by these top four. I thought for sure James was in first, and then I had Rafael Brandao in a really close second to James. And then I had Regan Grimes in third and Lucas in fourth. Lucas, like I said, he's known for coming in great condition, and he really doesn't have the prettiest physique, the prettiest shape. But when he does come in condition, he's very dangerous. And I didn't think he looked as good as he usually looks from a conditioning standpoint in this show. So I was kind of surprised to see him in second. I thought for sure he would be in fourth based on his structure compared to, especially when you got Regan and Rafael. These two guys have some of the best structures, most aesthetic physiques in men's open bodybuilding. Small waist, great V-taper. Regan was in decent shape. I could see why he was knocked a little bit here. He was a little bit soft, so I can see why they knocked him down to that fourth place spot. But I really thought he was going to be a solid top three here. And you really got to feel kind of bad for Rami, the fact that he missed this show because he tested positive. I think Rami could have walked away with this win relatively easily, and Rami and James in the same call-out, and I've said this before, I think that would be an interesting call-out, and unfortunately we didn't get to see that. How big would that be for James if he beat Rami? So now I'm curious to see if Regan, if he's going to be able to make it to the Chicago Pro next week and be a last-minute entry, because I'm sure he wants to make sure he qualifies for the Olympia. Just a very interesting result. This was not the outcome that I was expecting from Spain. Of course, I kind of expected James to win after prejudging, but the rest of those placings were definitely a mix. But I do want to say, I think the live stream was good. It was very good quality. I think the lighting at this show, it should be noted here that the lighting here looked a lot better than some of the previous two shows that we've seen. So that should be something that we walk away from this with. And the promoter, Emilio Martinez, I heard that he really kind of stuck his neck out to make sure that this show happened. And I guess there was a chance that it wasn't going to happen, but he made it happen, so I'm glad he made this show happen. It looked good. Live stream was good. A great lineup here. Great opportunity. Tremendous opportunity for these athletes. Top three getting to go to the Olympia. It's fantastic for them, so I'm glad that they made this show happen. But, man, those placings were interesting. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about those placings. Where would you have had Rafael? Where would you have had Regan? Would you have had Lucas in second? And do you agree with James winning the show? James, of course, came out holding up a Luke Sandoz shirt. Him and Luke were good friends, so I thought that was pretty cool. They were both Redcon athletes, both from the UK. So I'm happy with the winner, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like I said, very interesting, kind of controversial outcome. But we've got some other stories for you guys today. So next up in the news, GoodVito, the 23-year-old bodybuilder from Russia. He's very impressive. We've talked about him in videos before. He competed this weekend as well. And from what I understand, it's one of the biggest bodybuilding shows in Russia. I don't think it was an IFBB or NPC sanctioned show. He's not a IFBB Pro. So I think this was with the other organization over there. But he did end up winning that show, and he looked fantastic at this Russia St. Petersburg Pro, I believe it was called. And he is a Larry Wheels signed athlete. He's one of the first athletes, if not the first athlete, that Larry Wheels has signed to his PR brand. So congrats to GoodVito. I guess I should call him by his real name, Vitaly Ugolnikov. He just looked incredible here. The size of this guy's legs, he looks like a little big Rami to me. The proportions that he has, especially with his quads. He has some insanely sized quads. I mean, this guy looked ridiculously big, and I really want to see this guy on an IFBB stage next to some IFBB pros on like an Arnold Classic or an Olympia stage. And I think he's going to be one of the next guys to turn pro if he somehow manages to compete in a pro qualifier for the IFBB. I know things are complicated with the IFBB Pro League and IFBB Elite Pro split, so that it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But at just 23 years old, the potential that this guy has and the size that he already has, I mean, his quads, like I said, it's just ridiculous how big this guy's legs are. And he's got a crazy small waist for someone with a lower body that big. Typically, when you've got a big lower body like that, you're training heavy on squats and leg press and all that stuff that would typically thicken up your midsection, and maybe some of the supplements, quote unquote, that it would take to get legs that size would cause a distended midsection. But he's got this crazy tiny waist, wide flaring lats. He's got huge arms. This guy has a ton of potential. I really think he's the future of bodybuilding. If he's able to get to the IFBB and able to get to the biggest stage of them all, the Olympia stage, I think he could do some damage. You know, we talked about Nick Walker and Hunter Labrada earlier on in their careers and all the potential that they had, and both of them proved that they did live up to that potential. Nick Walker turned pro after we talked about him. He's making his pro debut next week. Hunter Labrada won his pro debut this year at the Tampa Pro, and I think GoodVito, Vitaly Ugolnikov, is the next guy, the next young guy to really start making waves in bodybuilding. I think he's got all the tools in his disposal to be very dangerous, and he's already very dangerous, as he's proven by winning this show in St. Petersburg, Russia. Now, next up in the news, a lot of you guys were sending this to me as well. Keone Pearson briefly posted on his Instagram story just a plain black background with the words "retiring bodybuilding," which he later deleted that post. So a lot of you guys were DMing me on Instagram concerned that Keone was maybe quitting bodybuilding. I DM'd Keone right away, and he said it was just a joke. So I wanted to include this in this video to let you guys know Keone isn't going anywhere. He's not retiring from bodybuilding. I don't know what the reason for the joke was, but I did talk to Keone. He's not quitting bodybuilding. He's still doing the Chicago Pro. Everything is good with Keone, so do not worry about that. Now, next up in the news here, I wanted to give Iain Valliere some credit. He got a lot of criticism and a lot of flack after his New York Pro victory a few weeks ago, maybe it was a month ago. At 10 weeks out from the Olympia, he posted this physique update where he is looking really grainy and really gnarly. And we talked about this with James Hollingshead. The more pale a guy is under certain lighting, they tend to look really grainy, and it becomes a question of whether or not that, perfect lighting and those pictures on Instagram translate to the stage. And I think Iain is another guy that's got a paler physique, and under certain lighting, his physique looks really impressive and really grainy, and the conditioning looks insane. And right here is one of those pictures. Crazy vascularity. He looks really grainy, really hard, really dry for 10 weeks out, to be honest. And I think Iain is really positioning himself to be in a prime position for this year's Mr. Olympia as a potential top 10 contender, just based on the conditioning that he's able to bring. Now, the final story that I wanted to talk about today, Brandon Curry. His latest physique update, to me, I think is one of the most impressive ones that he's posted so far. His coach there, Coach Abdullah, posted this Instagram story where you can get a brief glimpse of Brandon's physique in the magic mirror, of course. And again, it's very brief. But what you can see of Brandon in this update, I think, is one of the best versions we've seen of Brandon to date. The roundness that he's got, the fullness that he has, that's always been something that Brandon's been known for, is the roundness and fullness to his physique. But under this lighting, under these circumstances, at this angle, he looks almost as round and full as Phil Heath. I mean, he looks like he could really retain his title this year, and I don't think it's that out of the question to see Brandon potentially defend and retain his title in 2020. So to everybody that's already written off Brandon because Phil is coming back, I think you need to reevaluate your position, because I think Brandon is still going to be extremely dangerous this year. And based on the updates that we've seen, he looks like he's constantly improving. Over the past 3 or 4 years, every time Brandon has stepped on stage, he's brought a better package and he's improved upon his previous package. And I think there's a very good probability that this year at the Olympia, he can do the same thing. And I think there's a chance of Brandon winning, even with Phil in that lineup. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. That's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. Let me know what you guys think about all those stories that we talked about, especially the Spain Pro results. As always, give this video a thumbs up if you did in fact enjoy it. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed yet already. We're trying to get to 1 million subscribers. We got 966 right now, 34,000 away. So make sure you smash that subscribe button. Let's get to 1 million. As always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.